When a senator looks a cabinet secretary in the eye and says, "You didn't tell the truth," that's not political theater. That's a warning siren. In this hearing, you're going to watch a simple question get chased, dodged, and reframed in real time. Are you recommending the measles vaccine? Yes or no? The dodge you're about to see tells you exactly how this Trump administration wants health policy to sound. Confident on paper, evasive out loud.
Secretary Kennedy, I want to talk to you about your relationship with this committee and this Congress. I want to talk to you about the statements that you made to the chairman of this committee and to members of this committee during your confirmation hearing about vaccines. You didn't tell the truth. I find that to be really dangerous for our relationship. If I were the chairman who believes in vaccines and voted for you because he believed what you said about supporting vaccines, my head would be exploding. In the hearing, you told us, quote, "I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce any funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs." That's not the truth. You've done exactly. Let me finish my question.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said. I'm just asking you to repeat it so I can understand your question.
During the hearing, I'll repeat it. During the hearing, you said to this committee and to the Finance Committee, "I will not work to impound, divert, or otherwise reduce funding appropriated by Congress for the purpose of vaccination programs." That is not what happened. You've done the opposite. You canceled $12 billion in grants to the states, including my state, that are used to administer and track vaccines. You promised Chairman Cassidy.
When did I do that?
Madam Chair, would you allow me to finish my question?
Keep going with your question.
When did I do that?
Let me finish my question.
Accusation. Just tell me when I did it so I can understand what the question is.
You have canceled $12 billion in public health grants to states, whether you know this or not. That funding is used by the states in part to be able to administer and dispense information about vaccines. Mr. Secretary, let me give you the full panoply of
accusations,
the things you said before this committee that didn't turn out to be true. You also promised Chairman Cassidy that the FDA would not change vaccine standards from, quote, historical norms. But what happened as soon as you were sworn in? You announced new standards for vaccine approvals that you proudly referred to in your own press release as a radical departure from current practice. And experts say that that departure will delay approvals. You also said, specific to the measles vaccine, that you support the measles vaccine. But you have consistently been undermining the measles vaccine. You told the public that the vaccine wanes very quickly. You went on the Dr. Phil show and said that the measles vaccine was never fully tested for safety. You said there's fetal debris in the measles vaccine. And this morning—
All true.
This morning in
front of— Do you want me to lie to the public?
That's not— none of that is—
Of course it's true. Of course it's true, Senator. You're Senator begging your progress. You do not know what you're talking about.
For the record—
Let's have a little bit of order so that you can get
Madam
your
Chair,
question
I'm
and we can get
I didn't ask for a response yet.
I understand
I'd like to lay out the predicate of my question before I'm interrupted by the witness. He should have some respect for this committee.
Go ahead.
Just this morning in front of the House of Representatives, you also said that you, in fact, would not recommend that kids get vaccinated for measles. You said you would just lay out the pros and cons. Okay, so this is the summation of everything that you have said to compromise people's faith in the measles vaccine in particular is contrary to what you said before this committee. You said you support the measles vaccine, but then you have laid out a set of facts that are contested, and I will submit information for the record from experts who contest what you've said about the vaccine, and the result is to undermine faith in the vaccine. It's kind of like saying, listen, I think you should swim in that lake, but, you know, the lake is probably toxic, and there's probably a ton of snakes and alligators in that lake, but I think you should swim in it. Nobody's going to swim in that lake if that's what you say. And so I want you to acknowledge that when you say you support the measles vaccine and then go out and repeatedly undermine the vaccine with information that is contested by public health experts, that is not supporting the vaccine. And so I guess I have two simple questions for you. One is, can you clarify what you said in the House this morning? Are you or are you not recommending that families get their children vaccinated, or are you just giving people the pros and cons? And do you understand that when you say these things about the measles vaccine, what ends up happening is less people get the vaccine? That may be what you want, but do you understand that the result of constantly questioning the efficacy or safety of the vaccine results in less people getting the vaccine. So I don't necessarily want to spend the remaining 20 seconds in an argument over the science, but do you at least understand that that's the consequence of what you're saying? And are you actually still recommending people get the vaccine, or are you not?
Senator, if I advised you to swim in a lake that I knew there to be alligators in, wouldn't you want me to tell you there were alligators in it?
What you just watched is a textbook example of how accountability gets turned into fog. The senator isn't starting with ideology, he's starting with trust. He's saying you made commitments to Congress during confirmation, and now your actions and messaging don't match those commitments. That matters because this committee isn't just a stage, it's oversight. It's supposed to be where officials give clear answers, where policy gets explained, and where the public can hear what the government is actually doing. And notice the pattern in the exchange. When the senator lays out a direct allegation, funding cuts, changes to standards, statements about the measles vaccine, the response isn't a clean rebuttal with specifics. The response is interruption, repetition requests, and a constant push to reset the frame. Repeat that. When did I do that? What exactly are you saying? That might sound reasonable on paper, but in practice it does something very useful. It breaks momentum. It turns a straight line into a maze, because the longer the answer isn't yes or no, the easier it is for the central question to evaporate. Then the senator lands the most important point of the whole clip. You can't say you support the measles vaccine while repeatedly feeding the public talking points that scare them away from it. Even if you call it just asking questions, the effect is predictable. If you tell people swim in the lake, but you also insist the lake is full of snakes and alligators, people don't swim. And when we're talking about measles, a disease that spreads fast and hits kids, people won't swim isn't a metaphor. It's vaccination rates dropping. It's outbreaks becoming more likely. It's real-world consequences attached to a government microphone. Now look at the dodge at the center of the clip. The senator tries to pin down a simple headline-level statement. Are you recommending the measles vaccine or not? And what you get back is not a recommendation. It's a philosophy statement. Radical transparency. I'm not going to tell people everything is safe and effective. That sounds responsible until you realize what it avoids. Because the question wasn't, should officials hide information? The question was, what is the official guidance coming from the person running America's health agencies? In public health, words matter because they shape behavior. And when the top official refuses to state a clear recommendation, that ambiguity becomes the message. And the alligators line is the perfect example of that pivot. The secretary reframes the senator's argument as if the only options are either blind reassurance or honest warning. But that's a false choice. You can recommend vaccination while also communicating risks accurately. That's what normal medical guidance is. The problem is when warning becomes the entire product and recommendation disappears. Because at that point, you're not informing the public. You're nudging them. You're giving people the emotional takeaway, doubt, while claiming neutrality. So here's the real question the clip raises. Is this about protecting the public with clear guidance? Or is it about creating just enough uncertainty that fewer people vaccinate without ever having to admit that's the goal? Because in this exchange, the senator asked for clarity. What he got was framing, philosophy, and a refusal to say the simple words that the public needs to hear plainly. And in a country where misinformation already spreads faster than viruses do, that is not transparency. That's the kind of ambiguity that gets people hurt.